This is Newcap News with Lauren Poland.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. They're some of the worst road conditions local regions have seen in decades. Wear and tear from big rig trucks, along with a brutal spring thaw and heavy rain, are to blame. But the question now is, who will foot the bill to fix them?
What looks like a small river is actually a rural road. Officials say these are the worst conditions they've seen in 20 years. Rural municipalities are trying to keep the roads open, but now big changes are in order.
It would be like, trying to keep a patient on a life support to keep them alive, or a situation where we're putting a Band-Aid on cancer sometimes just to get them by.
This is one of the huge craters with the water level above my knees. For residents, this road is nearly impossible to cross. The gravel is like quicksand, and a quick fix solution is all the RM can afford, putting in clay and gravel to fill in the craters. Dow estimates the damage will cost the RM close to $2 million, and that's money it didn't budget for. And in the RM of Britttania, it's the same story. Huge craters with patch job fixes.
The unique situation in the Northwest is that it's probably one of the most concentrated areas in the province for trucks on municipal infrastructure. So the difficulty is, how do we fund it?
Minister of Highways and Infrastructure Don McMorris was unavailable for comment, but a ministry representative did return our calls.
Certainly the minister and ministry officials are well aware of the challenges, the conditions in these RMs. We're also aware of the conditions in other municipalities in other parts of the province, so we're fully aware of the conditions.
What the province won't say is if it will chip in any money for cleanup. Both RMs are hoping the minister will come visit the region to see its challenges firsthand. But again, the province won't promise anything. Now, Wilton is forced to close its roads to some heavier trucks, which will have an impact on oil rig transportation around the region. That change will take effect this coming Tuesday.
Rough roads are also wreaking havoc in the county of Vermilion River. That has the Reeve calling on the province and several oil companies to help come up with a solution. Nariman Issa has more on that side of the story.
From great big holes to ruts in the road, the ride within the county is definitely not a smooth one.
The green dots is a pad or a pumping station.
The region's Reeve says the roads are overrun with gas and oil trucks transporting product. To put it in perspective on just how busy the region is, each green dot is a pad or a pumping station.
There's literally millions of dollars of oil taken out of this county, and that money goes to the oil company or it goes to the province of Alberta.
Vanny is asking for the province and several oil companies to help pitch in financially to pave hundreds of kilometers of roads. Husky Energy is one of the bigger companies in the area. They provided Newcap with this statement stating, "We can confirm that we have been talking with the county." They went on to say the process is still in the early stages. Vanny understands paving will be quite costly, but the rough roads are proving costly for local farmers.
The biggest complaint that I get is dust. Cattle cannot pasture along those roads. Grain won't grow along those roads. Chemicals that they use for spray won't work on the crops.
Vanny says oil companies do provide funding for the region, but he's just hoping for a little more to help with the infrastructure. Nariman Issa, Newcap News.
The Reeve and councillors met with the province and oil companies earlier this week. They hope to have a report complete by next month. After 2 days on the road, the Lloydminster RCMP wrapped up their traffic blitz on the Saskatchewan side of the border city. Designed to target seatbelt intersection and cell phone violations, the results speak for themselves.
Very successful. Speaking with SGI as well as the other traffic partners that came into the city, they didn't expect numbers like this. They stated this has been the most successful project they've held in the province ever.
These 7 hours ended with close to 500 charges laid within the city. But for police, those numbers are usual for the region.
Surprised for numbers? Not so much. This is a city where seatbelt and cell phone violations are quite common and frequent. A lot of the problem has been trying to get these vehicles stopped, trying to catch up to them.
This is the first time Lloydminster has participated with the Traffic Blitz program. With this year's success, it will likely happen again next year. An early morning fire has closed a bridge on the Iron Horse Trail. Officials say the Beaver River Trestle, which acts as a corridor between the trail and Cold Lake, was uninsured and heavily damaged. The south side remains intact. However, the north end is a different story. It remains barricaded and users are advised not to go around. Firefighters in Cold Lake RCMP were on scene into the afternoon. A damage assessment will be made to see if the north side of the $2.28 million bridge can be rebuilt. 3 men, including a hunting guide from Cold Lake, have been fined for illegal hunting in Alberta. Nathan and William Shetter of Fort Macleod have pleaded guilty to wildlife offenses related to the trafficking of eagle parts and big game antlers. Both face thousands of dollars in fines. Meantime, Michael Blanchett of Cold Lake also pleaded guilty for hunting without a license, hunting using bait, and failing to submit outfitter reports. He was fined nearly $17,000 and ordered to report all future hunting trips to wildlife officials. Well, further talk about the adult entertainment bylaw is set for the end of July as City Council awaits recommendations from zoning consultants. The consultants' proposal will give guidelines for any adult entertainment venues in the city.
It's going to say where, when, how far apart can the buildings be, where they should be located, what kind of district, those sorts of things. Because in zoning, that's what we can do.
The city was already involved in a zoning regulation rewrite, but since the talks began, it's asking for one section of the bylaw to be amended with adult entertainment in mind.
That's the next opportunity for council to meet on it, and assuming that the consultant has the necessary material put together and is in a spot where we can review it, management has recommended it, then we'd look at it. If not, then again, we're going to do it as quickly as possible, but correctly.
The recommendation is scheduled to be brought to City Council July 23rd. If Council approves the zoning rewrite, then the bylaw can begin its first reading.